Arrogance, pride is something that a lot of people would recognize as being a flaw of the ENTJ personality. A lot of people have called me proud or even arrogant, and especially in my early 20s. Sometimes I felt like they were confusing confidence with arrogance. And sometimes I felt like it's actually a projection of other people's pride. I haven't really respected the hierarchical structures that exist. From your perspective, what is the relationship between an ENTJ personality and pride?
Pride comes from immaturity, a sort of latent, unaddressed, subconscious pride that is there, and the pride is coming from like comparing to others and measuring yourself as falling short, and then like having anxiety over that because you can't just turn around and be like, hey man, you look great today. Do you struggle to praise others? I struggled with that when I was like a early teenager or a teenager. I basically would never, ever recognize the accomplishments of other people. And I would be argumentative, and I was right, all the time. And that's a huge personality flaw. I think that can come from when ENTJs are in a stressful state, and you can be in a stressful state for like years at a time, right?
Oh, yeah.
So everything that goes on with you physiologically, it changes so much of what happens mentally. Your personality just straight away, it's off kilter. And so, I think people can misinterpret what pride is. Like if someone would look at me and they'd be like, oh, well, you're a proud person. It's like, yeah, I am. I can't lie about that, right? Like, I love me.
I've said that
I
before,
think
man.
that's something, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like probably the ENTJ thing is like, I love me. But the problem is when you're like under stress as an ENTJ, you can be like, I love myself, but I can see flaws in myself, and those flaws are being highlighted by these other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So therefore, I cannot, because I love myself, I cannot recognize those things that are great about that other person. Because if I do, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting the flaws in myself. And how can I love myself when I'm not perfect? That is the immaturity of the ENTJ. He's got like these massive biceps or whatever, or like this great body. It's like, I cannot recognize that, because in doing so, that highlights my own flaws. And if I do that, then I'm going to hate myself.
Yeah. I think pride really holds us back from learning from others.
Yes.
I mean,
Holds you back from growth.
It does. Yeah. It's like, God gives grace to the humble, but he opposes the proud. That's one of the proverbs that's stuck with me. And when I think about that, it's like, it's not this kind of mystical, supernatural thing. It's if you
No.
if you have a healthy attitude to who you are, where you know what you're good at, you know what your strengths are, you don't make apologies
Yeah.
for that, but you're able to recognize what others have that you don't have, you're going to
Yeah.
seek those out, and you're going to put yourself in a position where you're not the smartest in the room. You want to be around people who grow you, who challenge you, who are like
Yes.
by any definition of success, like better than you at what you're wanting to
Yeah.
achieve.
Actually, I remember, that game I used to, I actually still do play. It's called DOTA.
Yeah,
Dota
yeah.
2.
Oh yeah.
And there's like this
Let's talk about
hero
Dota.
that I was talking
Life
to you
lessons
about.
from
His
Dota.
name, yeah, life. Yeah, we actually used
Like,
to
give
do
us some life
life
lessons from
lessons.
Dota. Come on.
But like, there was this hero called Terrorblade. I used to love playing it. And there's all these like little descriptors of the hero. So essentially, he's like a demon, right? He like did so much horrible stuff to the other demons that the other demons had to punish him. And the only way that they could figure out how to punish him was to put him in like this room that was like surrounded by mirrors or something like that. And he was eternally damned to stare into this mirror that would reflect his own soul back to him, right?
Wow.
And then only after he was able to conquer his own soul was he able to break out of the prison and wreak havoc upon the world once more, or something like that. It was like, and I remember reading that and being like, holy moly, he's staring into a mirror of his own deepest, darkest soul and then conquers it. Like, and then I was like, man, what does that look like for me? And that's when you can start doing things like overcoming pride and anxiety,
Yeah.
is because you then spend time in a prison of your own making, like when you're in your morning routine, either in like prayer or meditation, and you just spend time just staring into the deep, dark recesses of your soul and of your personality. Like, this guy did something that was like amazing, and he just got all this praise and admiration, and in reality you just felt so small and horrible in comparison to him and worthless. What is it about me that just makes me feel that way? And like, let's really explore that. Let's spend time going into the deepest part of hell, because a lot of people just try to gloss that up. They're like, oh, that didn't feel good for me. Wait, I'm going to really deep dive into that. I'm going to really explore that.
Yeah.
So now when someone comes along and they're like at the gym and they're just like jacked and they got like biceps for days and like, you know, quadzillas, I'm just like, man, good on you. You worked hard for that. And you know, if there's anything I can learn from you, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And like, instead of now being intimidated because that person's showing up a flaw that I recognize in myself, instead of glossing that flaw over, I have spent time diving deep into how that makes me feel. So now when I get those feelings come up, I'm like, wait a second, I've conquered you before. I've defeated you before. And I know
That's
exactly
awesome.
how to take them down.
I am going to have to cut our interview short there because my laptop is almost at no battery. It's already starting to lag a little bit with the audio and the video. In an effort to limit how many video games I play, I don't have a powerful enough charger, so it actually it actually doesn't charge when it's video intensive enough to keep up. So I've got like 3 hours when I'm doing something like this. That's how I keep being productive. It's funny. I really appreciate the time that we've had, Sean. I've learned a lot. You've given me a lot to think about. Maybe we can do a part 2 one time.
Yeah, that'd be awesome when you get a decent power cable.